For today's lesson, you will need 6 pieces of square paper. A video was linked to your Google Classroom showing you how to turn any rectangular piece of paper into a square. If you don't already know how, go back and watch the how to turn a rectangular piece of paper into a square and get your pieces of paper prepared. Again, it's 6 pieces of square paper. If you're using copier paper, you're going to end up with a square that is 8.5 by 8.5. You are also going to need something to connect things to as you cut and attach to make this paper sculpture. I would highly recommend you use tape. If you do not have tape as the first choice, I would say the second best thing to use is going to be a stapler. A stapler would work as well, but it's going to be a little bit trickier holding things together and getting it stapled. Last but not least, if you don't have tape and you don't have a stapler, you can do this with glue, but it's going to get messy and it's going to be a lot more difficult to get pieces of paper attached and to hold if you're using glue stick instead of tape or staples. So I highly recommend tape is the #1 choice. If you don't have tape, staples are best after that. Your third choice, it can still be done, it's just going to take a little bit more patience and time, is a glue stick. I'm going to set the stapler and the glue stick aside. I'm going to show you how this works. This second paper sculpture is very similar to that first snowflake looking paper sculpture that we did. It's going to be 6 of the same thing repeated and then attached together around a central location so it displays radial symmetry. And this is how you are to complete all 6 of these pieces. Take one sheet of your 8.5 by 8.5 paper, fold it from point to point, top to bottom, which turns it in to a triangle. Now, my paper, because it's drawing paper, is actually 9 by 9, and I forgot to put that we need scissors. Duh, Mrs. Walsh, sorry about that. You are going to need a piece of scissors as well. When you fold your paper into a triangle, you need to keep track of which side is the longest, because this is the side that cannot be cut. The other 2 shorter sides, it doesn't matter whether you're left-handed or right-handed, as long as when you follow these directions, you don't cut through the longest side of the triangle, which is where our crease is located. So once you have it as a triangle, turn it in this direction with the crease at the top. It doesn't matter whether it's a skateboard ramp on this direction or a skateboard ramp on this direction. I use right-handed scissors, so I'm going to make it so that the ramp is on the left-hand side. I'm going to look at the straight line that is made on this side of the paper that opens and closes. I'm going to come in about a finger width, and it's going to be a little bit more than that. I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut a straight line up. And obviously, if I cut through the crease, this is going to fall off. We don't want that to happen. So as you get close, you want to stop short and snip through and come back. I'm going to come over about the same width as that. Doesn't have to be perfect, just has to be close. And I'm going to cut up. And because we are cutting, and this is an angle, I'm going to line up about the same distance from the crease, snip through, pull back. There's 1, 2 cuts. This will be 3, stopping in the same place. This will be 4. This will be 5. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strips, and then you have this triangle section. At this point, you need to open this up flat. So I kind of run my finger down the inside of it and open it up. Now, we are going to work with these 2 pieces first. I'm going to pull them up, roll them forward, and crisscross them. Using small pieces of tape, I pull off a small piece, I put half on the top, roll the second half under the bottom on this side, pull another small piece off, half on the top, roll it over the bottom on this side. And then you can see I have this that will kind of flap up and down. I want to secure that as well, so I'm gonna put a piece over top of there. Then, that first loop is made, flip your paper over, take the next two loops, bring them up, forward, crisscross over top of each other. Last time I went this way, this time I did this way. It does not matter. As long as you bring them forward, roll them, and lay one over the top. Small piece of tape, over, under. Small piece of tape, over, under. Find which side the flap is on. Doesn't matter as long as you secure it down. Guess what? Flip it over, do it again. These two roll forward, crisscross, hold them steady. Small piece of tape one side, small piece of tape this side. Find the area unattached and attach it. And you're gonna keep doing this, flipping it back and forth. Flip it over, roll forward, crisscross. As they get shorter, it's okay if you don't overlap perfectly. See how if you back this up, it gives you a little bit more room? I don't wanna give it that much room, so I am gonna pull this one all the way forward and crisscross it completely. But this last one is really short, and you may need to compensate for that a little bit by overlapping these a tiny bit less if you need to. And if you do, it's perfectly acceptable. This will still work as a paper snowflake. Flip it over. Here's that last one that's tricky because it's so short. When I go like this, eek, it's hard to get that. So I'm just gonna get as close as I can. See how I'm falling short of completely overlapping? It's completely fine if you get it as far as you can. I'm gonna go like that and roll that edge over. I'm gonna go like this and roll that edge over. And then where this point is and that overlap, I'm gonna get that to stick down. So it just looks a little bit, it looks clean like the other ones. Then this point one, I kind of don't mind if you leave the point just as it is, but I know on the instructions that I was following for this, they took this and they rolled those 2 points together and they made them overlap a little bit, so it looks like that. I don't mind that either. I'm gonna make that your choice. The first time I practiced this lesson, I did roll them like that and tape them, but I kind of like it left like that, so I am not gonna do that with this version. I'm gonna leave this square exactly the way it is. But again, I'm saying if you want to, you can overlap these two and tape them together so it makes a little cannoli tube at the end. I am gonna leave it like that. Now, you are going to make 6 of these exactly the same way. Stop the video here, step by step, take each of your 6 square pieces of paper and turn them into that same sculpture. We will pick up here in a moment, so pause the video. Whew, we're back. That was exhausting, wasn't it? Making 6 of those in a row. So when videotaping, I can't get all 6 of these on the screen at the same time. So I am gonna be working with 3 at a time to show you how to attach these. And you probably are aware from yesterday's sculpture video, paper sculpture, that looked like a snowflake. This gets a little wonky. Like you gotta be using your brain and your fingers and the tape or the staples, whatever you have to manipulate. You kind of have to play around with this because with attaching 6 at the center, you're always pinching things and trying to get things lined up to tape them. I totally understand each one is going to have its own character and its own different characteristics of looking because of this. So I'm not looking for perfection, I'm looking for try. So we're going to attach 3 at a time this time and then attach the groups of 3 and 3 together. And just like yesterday, the first 2 that I attach, I don't want them to both be concave and lined up. I want them to be like spine of the crease against spine of the crease. So I am going to line up the points overlapping. Then I take a larger piece of tape than I was using when I was attaching those arms in an overlap. So you make a tab by putting half of the tape on, letting half flow over the side, so you can wrap it over and pinch it over the back. And then I'm gonna also do that on this side. So voila, those two are attached. Now, these two are spine to spine, which means that both sides are sticking up are the concave sides. So I'm gonna take the convex side, the spine side this time, and line it up with it. So now I have 3 of those points of the center of the radial snowflake lined up. Tab over top, connect. Tab over top, connect. So now, if I lay this down, you have a really nice looking, let me center it in the camera, sorry. You have a pretty nice looking snowflake with 3 radial arms. And it just so happens I have gone ahead and attached the other 3 as well. So I am ready to attach all 6 together. You're gonna wanna pause the video, get your 3 attached, get the other 3 attached like mine are here, and then come back, turn the video back on, and we will attach the 6 together. So go ahead and pause and come on back. Okay, if you are ready to move on, we take those 2 points and overlap them. Do you want to overlap them? I'm not loving that. I don't know about you. I have to overlap them quite a bit. I have not found the secret of how to attach all 6, so this really ends up looking spectacular. I think what I'm going to do is overlap it to the point where it's almost a square of paper overlapping. So if you're point to point, I'm going to pull this down so that this point comes almost down to the cut, which means hopefully on the other side, the other point is that far as well. Gonna take, you can't tab it this time. You have to do this and then sneak your finger up underneath to use some pressure on there. Let's attach this side, and I'm gonna flop it over and find where the other side meets, and look at that. The point is almost to where those first cuts are, which is what I was hoping for. Attach on one side, attach on the other side. And then you might just want to play with the spacing a little bit. And there, I know the camera's too close on that, is our second radial symmetry paper snowflake sculpture. That's a lot of words, isn't it? Radial symmetry snowflake paper sculpture. Say it with me. Ha 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 ha. So this concludes the second paper sculpture. If you enjoyed making this, try making it in different sizes. Cut your squares smaller, cut your squares larger, have each family member make one. Find some string or some fishing line and attach it and hang these up around your house. They would be beautiful, especially if you also have the other style hanging up as well. That concludes today's virtual art lesson. I hope you join me tomorrow as we will have a third snowflake, and this one's going to be much smaller, so you could actually make tomorrow's snowflake and it could become a Christmas ornament. I will see you then. Have a great day.